Hi, I'm Lara, and you're watching me on KhaleejTimes.com.
If you were a kid like me growing up in the 90s and loved your bit of cricket, then chances are all of that love would have centered around one Brian Charles Lara. It's an absolute privilege today to be joined by none other than the Prince himself in KT One-on-One. Brian, thank you for coming to chat with us.
Lovely to meet you.
Brian, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you here at Khaleej Times. What do you have to say about Dubai? Every time you come back to Dubai, it's a place that you've transited all the time.
Well, you talk about in the 90s. My first trip to Dubai, I think, was around 1990. And I came to this side of town because we stayed in Sharjah and spent a little bit of time down in Lara, I think they call it. But I liked golf from a very early age. Right. And we drove up the highway, and there was absolutely nothing on the highway, and entered the Emirates Golf Club, absolutely nothing. Yes, a clubhouse and a beautiful golf course, but today it's a whole different story. The development here is just unbelievable, and the pace, and I know there's a lot coming up. There's a lot in store for Dubai, so it's always a pleasure to come here. You know, my best friend Dwight Yorks, he lives here, so yes. I do come and play a lot of golf and spend a lot of time. It's just a beautiful place to be, especially you know if you time it right in terms of the weather.
Talking about cricket, Brian, it's been over 12 years now that you've left competitive cricket. If I may ask you, if there's one thing that you still miss about being in competition, what would that be?
I think it's just the camaraderie. I think going to different countries, the camaraderie on and off the field, if it's with your teammates on the field, if it's the opposition off the field. It's just the great part about sport is how many people you get to meet and compete with. Yes, it's fierce, and you want to be fierce and you want to be the best, but at the end of the day you create so much friendship and so much memories. Those are the ones that live on, the different times that you spend with individuals all around the globe.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, I was just listening to your chat with the school kids that you were having, and someone asked you, how long have you played Test cricket? And you just said, I started when I was 20-year-old, and you played on till 17 years, almost 22,000 odd runs put together, Test and one day. So many knocks. We remember growing up as a kid, you defined by 501, 375, and then 400. But what is that one knock that you still hold, the closest to your chest?
There's a lot of talk about, if you ask individuals or even, the pundits about the game, that they would say that, I played an innings in Barbados in 1999 against Australia, 153 not out.
Yeah.
But I give a lot of credibility to the innings a week earlier when I batted in Jamaica, because I was under a different type of pressure individually. I was captain of the West Indies team. We were going through a very rotten time in the game at that time. We lost 6 test matches straight. I was put on probation, and I felt that innings in Jamaica against the same Australians definitely defined me as a person. It showed me the character that I have, how I can come out from the depths of sort of total failure and bring myself out of it. So it showed a lot of strength. It was a sort of a watershed moment in my career, and I will say that innings really and truly was the epitome of the person that I am.
Brian, of course, by the time you left cricket, I think it was 2007, that's when the first World T20 happened. So obviously T20 hadn't even come up. Is there a niggling thought that maybe if you were still around, you would have enjoyed that game?
I mean, definitely enjoyed it, but I wouldn't give anything up for what my 17 years of cricket. Yes, it did not have T20, but I enjoyed playing Test cricket. I enjoyed the period of the game that I played in, and how important it was for West Indies cricket at the time. So there's no there's no sort of disappointment or feeling of sadness that I didn't get to play. I think it's a wonderful invention into the game. It sort of saved the game. It brought a new life back, a new spectator, great sponsors, and I respect T20 for that. But I also think that the period that I played in, and the importance of Test cricket at the time was great. In saying that, though, not with the Test Championship just introduced by the ICC, I think that was something long in coming. Yep. I believe that has given Test cricket a little bit of life, something for you to play for. Back in the days, we played, we just toured and played different series in different countries. They added up, yes, to something, to a career, but you wish that it culminated into something like a Test Championship, which is now happening.
One question that I'm really tempted to ask. You've played with some of the best of the games. Of course, every era has its own set of heroes, and you were my hero growing up, of course. I have to say, as a journalist, I shouldn't be, but also you've played with likes of Sachin Tendulkar, you've faced players like Glenn McGrath. If I may ask you to choose maybe 3 of your best rivals you enjoyed playing the game with, who would they be?
Well, I think it's, I never liked spending too much time in the field, so Sachin will be the only one that I enjoyed as a batsman. That rivalry, trying to get him out. He was the #1 batsman in the world, and he was just a different sort of Indian batsman to what we're accustomed to. It's the one that on any surface around the world will give you a hard time to get out. So I enjoyed that rivalry a lot. And the bowling aspects, I think it'd be, the likes of Glenn McGrath, Brett Lee from Australia. The best team in the world during my period of play was Australia. So Glenn McGrath and Brett Lee were the two that I love facing. I love that battle. And in the spinning department, it will be Shane Warne and Murali. In saying all of that, the best bowler that I've ever faced was Wasim Akram.
You've played several roles in your career: a leader of men, a captain, of course, and brand ambassador for cricket in the West Indies at a time when West Indies was evidently struggling. What is it that you personally would like to be remembered as?
I think someone who sort of gave his best, but more importantly, I think as an entertainer. I think the fact that you're playing a sport, people are paying their money to come into a stadium. You want to be able to be an entertainer. You want people to leave knowing that they got their money's worth, and I felt that that was important. Even though I was accumulating the runs and playing out my career, I felt that it was my duty to sort of entertain, and I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed the fact that people still today talk about and reminisce about the innings that I've played over the years. Also as an ambassador for West Indies cricket, because I grew up at a period when we were the best in the world, in the 70s and 80s, and watching the greats, Sir Vivian Richards, Clive Lloyd, Gordon Greenidge, all those great players put together our heritage and put together our legacy. Not being able to have the same success, but it's all a cycle, but playing a part in the history of West Indies cricket is important. And I think that it's not just the runs that you score, but the manner in which you've played the game, the integrity in which you've played the game. I think it's important for us as a people in the Caribbean, and even today, if we are not the best team in the world and we are going through some tough times, it still boils down to, are these guys still perennial favorites? And we are. For a lot of countries around the world, the team that they love other than their country's team is the West Indies. So it's just great to be in such a position. I believe that our legacy still is very strong as a cricketing nation, and that is because of the people who have represented it.
It's a pleasure, Brian, Charles, Lara.